say that, and literally I got bombarded and we didn't leave this spot for almost 25 minutes. I was like, guys, hang on to it. I promise we're going to get to it. So the first thing we're going to be using is thermal imaging. So quick demo with this guy. You should be able to see me in this camera. I'm the red, orange, white, and yellow guy. So that means I'm the warmest thing inside the video. If you're a bridal party, that means I'm the hottest thing inside in the picture. We're going to be looking for cold spots with this, literal cold spots. The blue and black are the colder areas. So we also have a cheat sheet. There's a blue dot bouncing around the screen all over the place all the time, giving us the coldest spot in the frame at that specific moment. That kind of helps us direct the eye. You will get this full video back. I will tell you we are going to do some starts and stops with this because as great as this hardware is, used by firemen and mechanics, not to brag, but I went with the real deal here, but the software sucks. If we record for too long, we'll lose all footage, and I don't like to do that. So, George, as you're using this, I'm going to have you keep the camera level, like horizontal, all night long, with the camera on your left. That's the wire side. When I ask you to stop it, you'll simply hit the red square and then kind of give it a rest. And then when you restart it, make sure you start in the same starting position. This goes to YouTube after I splice it together, and YouTube doesn't know the flippies, so then I have to give out George's phone number, and nobody's happy. So I want to make sure you guys don't have an upside-down video. So you're going to hold that horizontal all night long. That is all on you.
Yes.
I'm going to break out both cameras.
Ow.
Just to get them kind of both out of the way. Alright, so this little crazy guy. Quick demo with this one.
You say that's you.
So, you should not be able to see me in this camera, right? I know it's a pretty small screen, but it should be pretty good. So we're going to turn on some lights. So,
it's like ghost hunters.
right. So we are using full spectrum lighting. So this is light you cannot see with your own eyes. That should be in a pinkish or purplish hue. So the reason why we're using this, the whole point is that we're going to hopefully capture something that we cannot see with our own eyes that will reflect light we cannot see with our own eyes. Does that make sense? We're also going to be using lasers with this. So the lasers will kind of enhance any movement that we see along with this. So this is almost like a two-person job. So Lisa, you seem pretty stoked about this guy. So I will say that last night this was giving me a little bit of a hiccup. So it kept wanting to freeze. We're not recording on yours yet, and I'm going to show you a lot more with your device once we get to that first stop.
I want to take a picture. Can I take a picture of you with this? Oh, yeah.
This is the neuralizer from Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything by the time we're done. Lasers. So you can see them really well through your viewfinder, through your GoPro that you have going on there. So they're nice and bright on your screen. So the reason why we use lasers with that specific camera is because it can see all types of light that we can't see. So the point is that you can't see the lasers until something passes through it. So in the event we actually capture something, I can give you the still of what we actually captured in the middle of those lasers. So really neat that we can do that. We're going to use two different styles. This one has red grids, same principle, but when we capture something here, I can take that still photo, put it in 3D software, and get a full 3D view of what we caught, along with measurements. So how cool is that? So I've had this guy for almost a year, and I haven't had anything yet that the software says, oh, it's this. I have things that I could put in it, it just won't accept it yet. So hopefully tonight is our night. This normally goes to adults.
Okay.
Because lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble.
Okay.
The pen, just so you know, point it down. There you go. So, yeah, whatever you gotta do to get comfortable. There's a button right there by your finger. I want you to get used to where it's at, just so you know. That one you have to hold on. This one has a toggle switch. And we have that one face up too. So, the toggle switch will keep that one on. And again, we'll learn more tactics with that as we kind of move along. You don't need to keep them on all the time. Lasers set off power lines, so it can get Nick in a lot of trouble and arrested. So, I will always give you the safe spaces for like. Oh, good deal. So, let's get into spirit boxes. So we're going to be using 4 different styles of spirit boxes. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. This one in particular is going to sweep through the FM radio stations at a very quick rate. I see your face lighting up too. So this one in particular, sweeping through the FM radio stations, it's kind of like the white noise you guys see on TV, and then your host will tell you the BS that he thinks he heard in the middle of the screen. So, yeah. That's what this guy's going to do. Only, this one is slowed down on purpose. You guys are not used to listening to white noise for long periods of time, and with that and the history that I'm going to tell you tonight, you're probably going to fall asleep. So, with these being slowed down, that means the radio chatter is going to sneak through. That's what we want. I'm going to repeat that. You are listening for song lyrics, DJs, and commercials. If you can make out any of those things that's coming through, it's a 50-50 shot that I can tie it to the location of where we are, person in history, one of us. Right, so this one's going to record, and with that, I'm going to go through this, like for every 5 minutes of recording, I'll listen to it for about a minute. I will tell you what I find in there, and again, if it's relevant, you get the backlink. If it's not relevant, it's just there to help teach you how to listen to the rest of the recording. The person, I have 2 of these, so the 2 people that are going to use these specific types are going to have earbuds in. They're going to use one only, so that way they can hear me as well. They can kind of turn the volume up and down. So, with that said, the volume on this recording does not fluctuate and it will not record any outside noise. So, I'm going to set this one up and get it going and get it recording. So the only thing that I ask is that you don't mess with the settings on it because it's already set for the slowest thing down. Look at her stepping forward like she knows it's going to her. I think you guys are all here to celebrate something, right? And that's your graduation? So we're going to go with you on this one.
Oh, okay.
So only because
she can have it. I don't care.
I have another one.
Okay.
I have another one.
Okay.
So she's going to go with the other one. So with that, I'm going to plug in the earbud. You'll just have to unwrap the cord with the...
Should I stop this from recording? Or
Nope,
need
you want to
no?
keep that one going. I'll let you know the starts and stops. So the volume button for you is right here. It's a wheel at the very top, right above the numbers. And you just have to take the twist line off the cord so you can use it. Alright. I didn't forget about you too. So don't think. So yours will not record, just so you know. You're also going to get one. So I'll set yours up really quick. Again, we're going to be using 4 different styles of spirit boxes tonight. So that's where things get really interesting, to see what all the different things come up. They are not synced up, so you guys will all hear different things. Volume button is at the very top. It's the wheel. So once you get that unraveled and have an earbud in, you'll be able to fluctuate the volume to your liking. The next spirit box. So this one works a lot differently. So if you guys watch the TV shows, you've probably seen a device that actually gives them words and repeats them back to them. It's called an ovulus. So this one works a lot like that. It's a phone app. So it's going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen. It's going to save all of the words from that list into a full list with timestamps. So last night I had 80 terms. That's about average for a 2-hour tour. So 80% of what comes out of this list doesn't mean anything. It's a phone app meant to have fun with. However, the other 20%, there's over 9,200 terms in this database for the ghost to be able to pull from and hopefully be able to give us clues as to things about their history. So, again, you're going to get the full list back because sometimes you guys, there's something relative to you that you'll need, that you don't want to tell me, but it's going to be on the list. So that's almost like a more personable thing. For example, if it says cat and radar, I had a young lady text me 2 days after she went through the evidence and seen that, and she's like, my cat's name is Radar, my grandma just passed away. So it was almost like a sign from her. Does that make sense to everybody?
Do I do anything with this?
Ah, you broke it. No, I'm kidding. No, you're good. I will come to you when I want to see the words, by the way, because you don't need to show me every one or else we'll be here for 3 hours. So I'll come to you when I want to see the words.
All right.
Mike,
So I don't do anything but hold it.
hold it and watch it. You'll be asking questions, but we'll see what pops up out of it. Mike, you're going to have an open air spirit box. So yours does not have an earbud, nor will it record anything. So it'll be up to you, whatever you hear, I'll be recording through my little notebook, and that goes for anybody that doesn't have a recordable device. So open air, I'll say keep it down or turn it up. Obviously when I'm talking, we want to keep it down. Your volume button is on the ball speaker. You'll hold it down gently to turn it down. You'll hold it up for a few seconds to get some volume out of it. So go ahead and get a feel for that guy, because that'll be your spirit box. You're my multitasker. I gotta get you to open up a little bit. So you're gonna have a lot of jobs. So This is called a millimeter. A millimeter is going to measure 3 different types of things. The first thing it's going to do, and you guys have all seen these, and I can explain these at the same time. This is what you guys see on TV, right? They're very sensitive, electromagnetic fields. So this will also measure anything that's electric, so cell phone wiring, buildings, that kind of thing. This is kind of like your guys' first indication if something might be going on. I use that one to debunk a lot of things. The same type of reading is at the top of the screen. It's the bigger numbers. Anything above 2.5 is the equivalent to his second green dot that's going to show up. I use it to kind of compare and see where things are going. The second thing it's going to measure is ambient temperature. If George finds something on his camera, you and I can figure out if it's a ghost or something coming from something man-made. That's the bottom number. That's going to tell us the temperature based on the probe there. The last thing that it has a motion sensor called a REM pod. A REM pod will go off when an EMF field is disrupted around its antenna. So I'm going to reset this so that it stops. So it might not stop based on our location tonight. If something gets close to it, it will go off. The closer it gets, the higher the pitch is going to go. You'll see an array of different colors here that you and I will talk about at our first stop. So for now, just kind of leave the antenna in, focus on the bigger numbers. I think everybody's loaded up.
When is the best time for me to turn
I
these
will
on?
always give you the
Okay.
sign for lasers safe, lasers not safe.
Okay. Don't get me in trouble. No.
Yeah, let's not get Nick arrested tonight.
Every car goes off as we go down there.
I know, right?
You've got a lot of power. I do.
All right, so quick recap on the things that you're going to get back tomorrow as far as your data, because every one of my tools are out except for the digital camera, and that's just for actual when I have the team of 11. So you're going to get the regular audio recording, you're going to have the spirit box recording. You're also going to have a full, sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. So full spectrum video, thermal imaging video, you're going to have the digital spirit box word list, and the analysis of things that I write down throughout the night. You're going to have a lot to go through. So let's get started on why we started here, now that everybody's got something to work with. So, trying to remember if I got names right. Heather? Yeah.
Yep.
Lily.
Good. And I've been watching How I Met Your Mother lately. You think I'd remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And I only remember Madison because she's been super quiet. So I was like, I'm going to have to remember her name because she's not going to talk much. So, all right.
He will.
Let's see what's going on. Big John's behind me. It's closed right now for Monday's reasons. But this place used to be Big John's Tavern back in the day. It was owned by Big John himself, who was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. He's wearing a shirt tonight. You keep breaking my stuff. Did I give you like the wrong gizmo?
Every gizmo is wrong.
Yeah, that's never shut off like that before. So just keep in mind it is a cell phone. So
Okay.
you don't want to
Don't
hit any
touch
buttons
the
or
screen.
anything. All right, his bar, 1947 New York Giants. That's where we were, right? He used to sit in the back of the bar and tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys came in. They're not old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry and they come back the next night and try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, gets pissed off, and goes over and starts beating the hell out of these guys, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of shots go off and John gets hit in the neck. The bullet ends up landing in the wall, so it didn't like penetrate like through the skin and stay in John. It went to the wall. After being shot, John gets up and goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor in ambulance. So, what's the moral of the story? Don't mess with Big John. Also, nobody died in that story, right? So, what's haunting the place? The bullet hole. People that tend to sit in the front of the bar, they get queasiness, nauseousness, headaches, those kind of things. I've even had my guests go there for dinner and tell me they started a steak that was amazing, but they couldn't finish it. Then I tell them the story and it all makes sense. This is your heated warning. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight, and I do not know how it's going to affect any of you. If anybody feels any of those symptoms that I just mentioned, the headache, the dizziness, the nauseousness, I need to know immediately so that way we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. I won't say that people have not passed out from this tour in the past. So, let's not talk about our own health, shall we? Madison looks a little worried. Sorry, I'm going to pick on you all night. So, we had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't know that from a previous history tour, you know it now. This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The mantle that you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front on the east bay side. So they say a piece of it broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head and killed him, and you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. And yes, that did come from the previous bar owner that I spoke to myself. he used to see shadow figures. I don't have any proof of that story. Notice I said apparently and allegedly a lot with it. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, yes, that was a joke. Some of you got it. Good. All right. We are going to go ghost hunting. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. We're going to go this way.
I don't know if I'm supposed to talk when I hear something. But I recognize.
If you hear anything noisy, it's different. I see dead people.
All right, so we're already up to a 20 to 25 milligauss reading on the K2 meter. So Madison, you'll have to let me know if you see anything come up on yours while I kind of go through what's going on here. First and foremost, those of you with cameras, there's 2 of them in play tonight. People and cars do not like to be filmed. I know it's a Monday night, we probably won't run into a lot of cars and people, but we are going to go to spaces where there might be some cars parked, like this one. There's a truck parked over there. People do not like their cars being filmed. If I was a car thief, the thermal imaging camera would be my first tool of choice, because that way I know exactly how long the car's been sitting there based on its heat signature. Don't get any ideas. So, this is the big red barn lot. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. They can't hear us because there is no glass in those window panes. So, a couple of rules here. No lasers on that building, and we cannot be very loud in here. So Mike, with your spirit box, is the only one that's going to have any kind of noise. The ponies do not like the white noise. So I would just ask them to stay away from the red bulb. And the lasers cannot go on the red bulb, because you'll split the ponies that way too. They also don't like those. The history here is really simple. This is just a kind of a starting point so you guys get used to your devices. The history is, this is the same red barn where we used to keep horses that deliver milk and eggs to the residents involved. But every story I tell you today, I will slow down on certain keywords, mainly for the spirit box purposes. Over there, the keywords would have been 47, New York, Giants, John, and anything relatable to a barn. Over here is going to be delivery, milk, eggs, anything relatable to a pony, right? Which is stable of some sort. This is not television. Let's talk about those spirit boxes. This is not sleeping. Everybody wants to ask, because that's what they do on TV. If somebody says no, it means somebody's here, right? So we're just going to stay away from the yes and no questions all night long. Most of you are here, I'm guessing, for some kind of paranormal proof. So hopefully we're going to be able to get it, and you're not going to get it with yes and no questions. I count that as too vague. We need to move on from those questions. For those of you with spirit boxes in a space like this, you're going to ask questions that you already know the answers to. Like, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red. But I want to point out that you're using song lyrics and DJs to convey messages and a digital database of words. So sometimes that might not be available to them. However, fire truck, heart, blood, those 3 things are specifically red. So that would, to me, count as a submittable answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. That's acceptable. However, most of the night, I'm going to require 2 pieces of something going on to be able to verify what's happening. For example, you have the word art that shows up on your word list, and you hear the number 40. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Does that make sense where I have to put those clues together? You got that? Okay. So a lot of these stories I'm going to tell you tonight, we're going to be talking about the 17 and 1800s. Lots of Georges, Elias's, Charleses. Like, these are very common names during that time frame, and we need to know who the hell we're talking to. I like those specific details. So that's kind of the mentality that you're going to have with your spirit boxes. Again, the next location, I'm not going to be giving you the answers of questions like what color is the big red barn. You're going to have questions based on the story that you don't know the answers to, and hopefully we get them out of your spirit boxes. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here, only because somebody's parking. It looks like they're going to be going into the shop, so we are going to spend a very short amount of time here. So I'm going to point out a few things with the cameras. You're going to do 2 things, at least try to do 2 things. You're going to try to keep a person in view, because we're going to be the warmest thing out here. That gives us a nice array of color. And you're also going to try to keep the sky out of view. The reason why is because that blue dot will automatically default to the coldest area, which is going to be the sky, and there's no surface, so it doesn't know what to do.
So red is the warmest, and what would be a spirit?
Anything that would be black or blue. And what I'm looking for on the black or blue areas are for them to move or take shape. Because you're going to have black and blue spots that stay there, but if they start moving, Right.
See the black and blue in the back, but that's
Right.
not.
It's not moving.
No,
It's just
yes,
colder
okay,
than
so
the
it has
people
to
that
be
are in
moving,
front.
Okay.
As far as your camera goes, and again, these people are getting a little nervous about us standing here, so again, we're not going to spend a lot of time here. Spirit boxes, if you have one with an earbud, by all means, turn it up, and I'm going to see your word list in a minute. Point your camera at me for just a second. Notice how, like, I stand inside of a purple circle. When I'm watching your video tomorrow morning, I'm not looking at the purple circle. I'm looking in the darker areas of things that shouldn't be able to reflect the light. So something basically up here outside that purple circle. With the lasers, you're going to basically go ahead and point one of your lasers down for me. You're basically going to be trying to shoot. You don't want to shoot down at it. You want to go at like a 3 to 5 feet away, shooting at an angle to go through it. Because I'm not looking for something on the ground. I'm looking for something here. So you want to make sure you kind of get that nice angle to be able to shoot it at that range. So when you guys are working together, especially with the lasers, you want to shoot at an angle going through the lasers, not down at the lasers. I think that covers everything except for the REM pod, which we'll talk about at the Pinkney Mansion site, which is next. What words have you gotten in the past few minutes?
Safe.
Safe. So when I say where are we at on the word list, you hit that little white box.
Okay.
Brian. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about it. So far we have no clue. All right. So does everybody have at least a gist of what their devices do?
Am I just supposed, like, do I ask questions randomly?
You can.
Okay. And then tell you?
With every space that we go to, again, I don't want to spend a lot of time here because it looks like they're going to be loading and unloading. People get a little nervous like that. So as we walk to the next space, turn it up and kind of get the gist of listening for those song lyrics and DJs. So the same thing goes for you. So the two of you should be definitely listening in. If you want to turn yours up and just kind of put it up to your ear, that way you get a gist of listening for those types of things too. So anything that you guys, the three of you, can make out with your spirit boxes, I want to know what it is, whether it was relative to a question or not. Sometimes throughout the night, I have to link these things together. So again, you might get a specific thing and it doesn't mean anything by itself, but with that extra piece, it might mean something else. So again, it's about how many clues can I get relative to one story and one character in the story to actually know who we're talking to. So yours has been pretty steady, correct, Glenn?
Yes.
All right, so I would say between 20 to 25 milligauss. I have no idea what the hell that was, by the way. That was a weird noise for Charleston, for sure. Let's go up to the next spot. We're going to walk slowly through this lot so you guys get used to listening, and then we'll talk more about the subject.
I see dead pickles.
Right there?
This is a hotbed for EMS for sure.
Madison's got a number she's playing with.
Okay, what do you got?
It's been like 8.
Okay, that's good.
4, and then I just went back to 0.
So anything above 2.5 is normally what I look for, but right now it's going to be anything above 8. So I'm always trying to climb the ladder. So you said 8.4?
Now it's 3.3 now. Now it's 0.1.
Okay.
It was 8.3.
Okay, so just a couple of things here before we really get started. This is the only entrance and exit for vehicles. Obviously there's vehicles here, so they don't be too obvious when we're filming around the vehicles. And we will not go in between cars. Most of the cars that are in here are from employees downtown, and a lot of them like to take their break in their car. They don't fancy us going in between their vehicles. All right, so let's kind of get into where we're at. So another beautiful space of Charleston, yes, another parking lot. This place used to be the Pinkney Mansion site. So Charles and Eliza Pinkney lived here. Their mansion stood in the front facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was behind Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So who the heck were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for us here in South Carolina, but you guys are on vacation, and I don't like politics either, so especially with the state of the world today, so let's get on with Eliza. Spirit boxes, remember, I'm not going to be giving you questions for your spirit boxes that are like, what color is George Washington's white horse, right? Like what we did with the Red Barn. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So keep that in mind when you're asking about the marriage age. The only reason I bring it up is because Charles was over double her age when they got married. So she married him because her father over in England thought he was dying. He wanted to see all of his kids one last time. So she didn't think he was dying, so she basically stayed put. This is 1744. No such thing as citizenship or green cards. She married him out of love, just to prove how much she was in love with him, even after his death. Remember, he's over double her age. She did remain a widow. They were only married for 14 years, so keep that in mind. But anyway, Dad starts sending gifts over because he didn't die right away. She was right. So one of the gifts that he happened to send over was the plant indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. It started right where you're standing. However, it's not always warm here. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated in our weird temperatures. So once she figured it out and experimented and learned from them, she moved it to their plantation in Mount Pleasant, just north of here. She calls her dad and says, hey, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. I need some contacts in order to sell this stuff. I know, I'm using very modern terms.
Sent a letter on a slow boat.
Yeah, she didn't call.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So, but with that said, now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of for you history buffs. I'm sure you already knew that. So let's get into the weird stuff about Eliza, because that's the baseline, right? So the weird stuff about Eliza that you can ask about. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. So his first wife died in 1744, and then he married this Eliza in 1744. So the same year. Yeah, imagine that. So you're very smart or very stupid. Now, both Elizas ironically have a maiden name. That's the name she had before she was married. That starts with the letter L. If you want to know which Eliza we're talking about, ask what the maiden name is. By the way, if you know what some of the...
15.9.
How much?
15.9.
We started talking about Eliza. Nice. If you know some of these answers, please don't blurt them out. Some people actually know this stuff. But anyway, you can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. And then you can ask what year that tragedy happened. Again, we're after proof that somebody is here and haunting this location. Eliza's death. You can go into anything you want to. Hey, Eliza, how old were you when you died? What did you die from? Where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? Some president wanted to take her to her grave as an honor system. As far as Eliza's children, you know there's at least one because his name is Charles, signer of the Constitution. There's more. You can ask how many and what their names are, but leave it alone. The reason why I tell you that is because there is a tragedy among those children that if we start poking the bear, all activity will stop, including any EMF readings that we have going on thus far. So, again, it's very, very touchy subject with her. I will let you know what that tragedy is before we leave, but don't poke the bear on your own. Let's see, what else? Went over our death. I think that about covers it to get you guys started. So those are questions you can ask. If you go rogue and ask your own questions with your spirit boxes, let me know what they are if you get a direct answer. Just because, again, this is stuff you can ask. It's not an all-encompassing. Keep in mind, I'm here 6 to 7 nights a week. Eliza and her family know what questions we're about to ask them. So hopefully we get the correct answers that we normally get. So have some fun with this. I do want to work with the... Oh, I got to show her how to use the REM pod. So Madison, if you can stay back with me. Again, everybody else that's spread out. Lisa, we need to start your video. So that's the red button at the top.
I've been like,
You're recording it.
one day.
You doing anything? Are you doing anything?
Keep an eye on
I
that
just
right
hear a
there.
bunch of, like, listen to what I'm hearing.
What I might have you do is
There's just
like
a bunch of
every 3 to 4
static
minutes,
and like...
Yeah, well, that's what you're supposed to be picking up.
It's hard to press, by the way. Let it stop flashing, wait a few seconds,
Eliza,
put it back up.
what age
Basically,
was
every
when
3
you
minutes,
died?
You can see the timer on the screen.
When you were talking about someone dying, someone said
I heard
Bible.
22.
We're very religious family.
Excuse me?
So, yes.
I asked her what age she was when she died. She said 22.
That's correct. Where did you get? You heard that straight from the spirit box?
Right here. It said 2022.
But it is 22. All right, so we're already getting certain things going on. Just to kind of give you guys an update, obviously your readings are very significant. So the 15.9 that you have, but Elizabeth has already asked how old Eliza was when she got married, and she had the direct answer, which was 22. So just kind of take that for what it's worth. We're going to have some activity in here, fingers crossed. So pay close attention to those spirit boxes. Nice job.
13. It's a question you want to run away. Do you want to ask a question?
Madison heads hurt when it goes up.
Are you okay?
Yeah. It's,
Eliza, how old was
it was 13.3.
Are you like getting a headache? Do we need to move you out of the area? Okay. Well, you're coherent. That's a good thing. So, again, this is one of the spaces where headaches can occur because the EMFs can get very, very high.
And it was 15.
Yeah.
It was like I felt this like pressure right here.
Okay.
Song lyrics.
Move around a bit.
Yeah.
Again, we're in the servant and slave areas. I can't prove anything back here, so if we get things relative to servants and slaves, like those questions, I can't prove it. So let's get some.
I'm in cahoots with her, right? So I need to.
See, now you're excited. So remember, you can ask how old she was when she died. Where did she die from? And you got to keep asking the same questions over and over and over again. Where are you buried? Where did you die from? Keep going with those until you start getting some answers out of it.
What's a question like that?
I have her asking Elijah what happened during her death, how old she was, what she buried, etc. Maybe start, you guys kind of watch those videos far out. Like a bad guy. Literally within 4 or 5 feet. Just because.
Eliza, what killed you?
Yeah, go. There you go.
Eliza.
The only reason I do that is because Mark went right by. These are neighborhood homes. People are walking. They don't interrupt them in any way. So just keep tabs on it. So you're still at the wrong angle. You want to almost be like this, like straight ahead. There you go. Like level out the bottom. There you go. Nice and perfect. So like when I'm watching the video, I'm looking at this green. See how the lines show up on my arm? That's what I'm looking for. Is something quick to go through. So I'm looking for motion in that sense. I need to show you how to use that round off. So let's kind of take a break from that. Let me show you how to use the
I
motion
just
sensor.
asked where are you buried and she's like here.
That you already have the gist.
But I don't know if that's true.
Ask her again. Ask her again.
Eliza, where were you buried? Eliza, where were you buried?
Eliza, what killed you?
How did you
Eliza,
die?
how did you die? Eliza, how did you die? Hotel? That doesn't. You think? Eliza, how did you die? Eliza, how old were you when you died? It's at 22 again.
I have no idea what mine's
Because that was when she got married, not when she died.
No, when she died, that's what I asked. When did
Yeah,
you
but
die?
she got married at 22.
She died at 22.
Work independently.
That's what I asked the first time, and then it said 22, and then I
Right,
asked again.
but that's
and it
not.
said 22 again.
I mean, Nick.
Eliza.
Eliza didn't die at 22, right?
No, married.
Married at 22. She's asking how old were you when you died, and she keeps saying 22.
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Keep
Oh, wait,
trying.
no. I asked married the first time.
She did. She did say married to me the first
said
time.
Okay, then yeah.
Yeah.
Then it was right. Sorry, I'm getting confused now.
It wasn't even blinking anymore. It's like I'm using it still.
The green. Yeah. See how it's. Yeah. This is how it's frozen up. So it's like this is where I have to do a quick battery pop just to get it. And this is the trouble it's giving me last night. That's why I was like, I want to try shorter spans because it'll go all the way up to 9 minutes before it'll create a new file. So I want to do like every 3 to 4 minutes. Just stop it and start. So that way it doesn't log off. I'm trying to get it before it locks up. I don't know what's going on with it.
How many kids did they have?
You tell me.
I heard 5.
No.
No? Okay.
See how they're trying to weasel answers out of me?
I got nothing. No paranormal activity.
So I asked some questions. I said, what did you like to do in the garden? And then Munchkin.
Do we have a Ouija board? Let me see if Eliza is with you.
So I'll work it out. And then somebody actually got the right answer across the parking lot. So it's kind of like, smart ass Eliza over here. Like, I'll go answer, ma'am, over
What time does this end?
you know. So it was kind of funny at the same time.
10 o'clock?
There's always a way to reword those questions.
We just started. We're already in the second spot.
Yeah, see, you're just
We're
a
not
cameraman.
seeing anything.
Yeah, and you might not.
Yeah,
This doesn't catch something every single night. But if we don't record, we won't catch it.
right.
So I catch maybe 7 to 8 pieces every year that are like, holy cow, this is good stuff on the thermal. But again, if I'm not recording all the time, I won't be able to get those 7 or 8. So just be a good cameraman so I can have a good video to watch. Are you hearing anything on yours, Mike? Not yet. Did you turn up the volume? You can turn it up a little bit more just so you can get the gist of it.
I asked Eliza how did you guys the relationship?
No.
No? I keep getting relationship. I asked 3 times and the song was like love, relationship, date. Blue.
No, it's just there. It needs to be moving the blue. What do you say? You said?
Think stuff in there. Addison, put it in there, honey. Yeah. Is anything recording? Really?
Yeah, but I don't see.
Recording?
It stopped recording again?
What's blue? What's blue mean?
She has motion going on here. Reset it to make sure it's not coming through.
She's got motion over here.
Yeah, but I don't see nothing
No.
around you.
Whatever for me.
Oh, there it is again.
No, nothing.
Is that all right? Over there.
Let's get some answers. I know it's going crazy.
Oh my god, is it next to Lily? Oh my god, Lily. Lily, it's following you. Come back, come back, come back. Lily, come back. Come back, come back.
I like Lily. I like Lily.
All right, let's roll back to the back. Let's get you guys some answers.
Radioactive.
Hey, hold on.
What you got?
Lily.
No, it's
You got something going on?
no, it's not moving around. It's blue, but it's not moving around. For a second, when they were next to each other, very close, it looked like something shaped, but then it was just
Who is next to
yeah, it's not
That's-
moving
yeah,
around.
that's the sky. Keep your lasers a little lower. You want to keep them below the wall. And that's, we marked it because it's recording your voice too. So that way I know where to watch.
Lily?
Oh, Lily.
Lily. Are you trying to say Eliza? Or Eliza?
Hold up. Who was next to me?
There you go. What?
I don't know if it's just a static. Hold up.
Is this something common for you, electronics? Or... I'm just asking because so far that this thing is already...
Who was close to me?
Away.
No, did you hear it? It said Eliza. No, it said Eliza.
You got it.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not even lying. I heard it.
Now I want to hear. I heard.
No, did you hear it?
I heard like
Yeah,
that.
it just cut out. It was like. That's freaky.
Did she get the same wave? Did you get the same? Did she get the same?
I'm not picking anything up.
Like, does she hear the same stuff you hear?
No.
Do you hear anything?
They're not synced
No,
up.
I said who was
Remember,
close
Mike
to
has
me and
one
it said
too.
Eliza.
So
She's
his,
saying it said her name.
No,
your
it
name
did-
specifically?
No, it didn't say my name. I said who was close to me, and it was really staticky, but everything cut out, and it sounded like a voice. And it said Eliza.
I heard it through her. I heard the and I heard the
Like,
break
cut
up.
out.
Like as soon as she asked them. Like that.
Freaky.
Cool stuff.
Madison, what's going on over there?
I don't know, but we're going to go to the back. I'm going to get you guys some answers. I'm worried about her.
She's having headaches?
Is that her bag?
I'm not picking up really anything.
So maybe I did really well about choosing who gets which device tonight, except for Rachel. She's great.
Have you had any headaches since 15?
All right, let's go ahead and stop those videos. So George, come on in. I don't want you becoming a ghost tonight.
No. It's been story after story after story. 600.
It never happened to Davis or Kate.
Really? Just the women? Just the women.
And the woman had her hair like the sisters, white hair, younger. And then Alex said she was like at the bottom of her bed.
I think it was Bill and a politician.
That one I'm not surprised with. Anybody else have any names that they've heard on the spirit boxes? No names? Alright, perfect. So lasers we definitely keep on the ground. So you're okay here for a little bit. With that, let's talk about...
Hey Nick, come here.
This is a weird space. We're going to have a
Look
lot of
between the two of them, the blue stuff over there. See?
Yeah, it just means that the wall is a little bit colder.
Is that what it is?
Yep,
on?
yep,
Okay.
that's it. So this is Lodge Alley. When we cross that last crosswalk coming over, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. We have
It just says guilty.
guilty.
Yeah. It's been coming up with interesting words.
Yeah. That's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. So it had a wall around it. We crossed over, and this is one of the very first streets that we ever had here in Charleston. So people used to live here. The two buildings that you're looking at right now, they weren't here. Little tiny shotgun houses, 1 to 2 room, not 1 to 2 bedroom houses were here. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. That's why I ask you guys to listen for names. Every 6 to 7 weeks, I get the same names over and over and over again. It's like watching a movie, and I'm just catching the tail end of it every 6 to 7 weeks. The two names that I normally get are Benjamin and John. And that sound like very common names, but when I say people lived here, it was only like 5 to 6 people at a time. So when I hear Benjamin and John, that was 2 people that lived here in 1801. 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. Every once in a while, a third name will come up, which is the name Jane. Why Jane shows up on a radio station, believe it or not, is not a very common name today. So again, that's a third person that's somebody that lived here in 1801. Do I have anything significant about 1801? I don't. It's just very common that I get those same names on a rotation. Depends on moon phases and all kinds of things that you guys can imagine that I look at when I hear these things. So, and I don't tell you what the names are to see if they're going to come up relatively, so instead of subjectively. Now, you're standing on Belgian blocks. These are made straight from granite. If you watch the TV shows and the YouTube videos, they talk a lot about limestone. And limestone can affect and create EMF and EVPs. But anything straight from the earth, like something like granite, can hang on to the consciousness of memories. These bricks were laid in 1735. These are old bricks. They've been here the whole time. They've never changed other than whatever the flooding damage that's here, fire damage. So, they did do an archaeological dig underneath these bricks, and they did find some of those people's clothing and their silverware and their tools. It makes sense that they classify these people as lower class because the other side of the wall would have been across the street on East Bay, and the smell of low tide would have been coming through here. The rich aren't going to put up with that. If you've been down to the Battery, you've probably noticed that our houses are skinny and they go long back. That's for a couple of reasons. First off, you were taxed based on how much street side you took. So, the less you have on the street side, the less taxes you're going to have. Keep in mind that the Pinkney Mansion I just showed you, it's broad. They don't give a damn. They'll pay the taxes. It's bragging rights to show off their home. The other reason the houses are skinny down by the Battery is because the smell of low tide is blocked by the piazza door, that's the front porch, and you keep that door shut. You open up the top window, the nice cool air from the water will come in and cool off the entire house because heat rises. So again, it's all science if you really, really look at the houses down there. Before people lived here, this is where the Freemasons had their Masonic Lodge. Are you locked up again?
No,
You
I
just
turned
had
it off
that.
for a minute.
Okay, you just had that look of disappointment. Like, damn it, my gadget keeps breaking.
No.
This is where they had their Masonic Lodge, hence the name Lodge Alley. I get terms on the spirit boxes related to the Freemasons all the time, including Freemason, Mason, Brick, and Illuminati has shown up here at least 4 or 5 times last year alone. Yes, I chuckle every time I see it too, just because, really, we're going to go with conspiracy theories. But again, when I hear it, who the hell says the word Illuminati on the radio? Nobody, unless we were actually meant to hear it. So again, keep that in mind. Lily, you look so focused. Look at her. She is.
Lily.
What?
I'm
listening.
Staring out.
So again, very interesting space. This is not a space where we actually ask questions. It is just kind of a helping to lay out the rest of the land of where we're going to be going from here. the next alley I'm going to take you to, I cannot take you through. I've been kicked out because my teams have the loud gadgets, and it is residential at the end. So technically, we're not supposed to be all the way down at the end, but I'd like to take you. However, we will go outside the alley. I still tell the story because we still get enough evidence. We'll get some footage of video while we're there. And the story is about duels. So if you're into dueling in that time frame, so late 1700s, it's a pretty cool story, and we can actually prove it based on the evidence that we capture and what's been documented. After that, it's kind of myths and legends time. I'll kind of see what the spirit boxes are hearing. There's a lot of stories on that last street corner that we'll kind of take a look at and see what's left. If they're hearing things, great, I'll tell those stories. If not, I'll go to my standard go-to. Then after that, we're going to deep dive into a female pirate. There's a lot of pirate history here. And again, this wasn't something I wanted to do with pirates. I'm more of a vampire guy. But after I got booted out of Philadelphia Alley, I had to learn something new and didn't even believe the story till the first night I was there, which I'll tell you all about that once we get closer. Pirate story is a whopper. It is crazy. So if you're into pirates, this is not your typical pirate story. And again, remember, I didn't even believe this story. So the fact that I continue to take people there a year and a half later, it's pretty cool stuff. And it is a hit or miss. And I always hate to end it on when we didn't find much there. It's not going to be the Pinkney Mansion where we're getting those direct questions. It's either we're going to have a ton of it or we're going to have none of it. Because Anne Bonny is said to be seen all over town. So if she's not there specifically on our time frame that we're there, we don't capture anything. But you'll hopefully have learned quite a bit about Charleston by the time we get there. Once we exit this alley, we're going to go all the way through it. Those of you with video cameras will stop your video because we're going to be passing through a neighborhood. We're not allowed to pass through neighborhoods with video cameras and or lasers. So your lasers are going to be out for just a hair. So kind of bear with me. Spirit boxes, Mike, you're the only one I'm worried about, so just keep it audible to you. You've been doing a great job tonight, so I appreciate that. But the other spirit boxes, by all means, listen away. Tell me what you hear along the way. So let's go take a look at this next alley and see what we capture.
Do you think a lot of people have died in here from a sickness?
I'm sure they have.
How old is that U.S. Custom House?
How old is it?
Uh-huh.
I don't know that exactly. I want to say early 1800s.
Only 18, not 17, right? Okay.
So, fun fact about it though is that 80% of African Americans in the United States have an ancestor that came through those doors. How crazy is that?
Yeah. It's like Ellis Island.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to listen to something specific?
You tell me what you hear, and I'll let you know how relevant it is. So again, every little thing you can make out.
Everything?
I want to hear buy it now, and all the the today terms like www.com, those kind of things. But if it's a phrase like tomorrow, or you hear a number, like numbers are always relevant. I look into every single number. Definitely a Bible verse.
Take you with me?
Yeah, what's the matter?
Take you with me and Genesis? Great. And then captured everything.
Mikey is sleeping with you tonight, so we got an issue.
Wait, I haven't had fun with Mikey.
Yeah, he's back now.
Well, we know he got fired because he
Alright, I'm gonna line you guys up along the wall, so scoot all the way down.
I've heard 3 things.
What you got?
I've heard the 14th, 4 people, and Carol.
14 and what?
4 people and Carol.
So numbers, I dive into every single one. Just because I never, sometimes I can know them off the top of my head.
Right when we left the alleyway, I heard 14 from 4 people.
Interesting.
I heard fatal.
Yeah. And then while we were walking on the sideway, I heard Carol passing the law firm.
What did you hear?
Fatal.
You heard, who heard law firm?
Oh, as I was passing the law firm,
Oh.
I heard Carol.
I thought you heard the term law
Oh,
firm.
no.
Okay.
Fatal.
Fatal?
Yeah.
And what do you have on your word list? Wow, you got a little,
Yeah.
got the F-bomb going on here.
No way.
Yep.
No way. Where? We don't talk like that. Okay, why was that coming?
It's in the vocabulary of whoever created the app. So there's over 9,200 terms in there. So whoever designed it put in a few swear words to add into it.
Sure.
But however, that's part of the 80% that I can call and BS at way because, again, who talks like that from the 17 and 1800s? They don't.
Right.
So that's how,
Okay.
so again, I will probably end up deleting it from the list so that way it doesn't show up in a family-friendly tour. So kind of take that for what it's worth. All right, so I'm going to put all of you guys on the wall because we're going to be staring at the alley behind me. So those of you with video cameras, like George, you're in a good spot. So Lisa, I definitely want to try to get some footage.
I'm gonna need you.
All right, take a look.
I heard 3 and
Sorry, I'm so
brutal.
sorry.
3 and brutal. Now, the interesting thing is I will tell you, whenever I have anybody of diverse background in my group, their nationality will pop up. For example, last night I had a lady on my tour, and I don't ask that kind of thing, because first off, it's none of my business.
I just heard loyal, but
That's
I heard
kind of
someone's here to say.
Those of you with cameras, you want to be a little bit more casual here.
Someone's
People are
here
going to be
to
walking
say,
by.
and then just cut out. Like
Perfect.
someone's here
You're
to
on
say
it.
blank.
But their nationality will pop up on the thing. I heard you talking. I wanted to wrap this up. But on the word list, their nationality will pop up, and it's very specific. Last night was Greek. And I was like, "Is anybody here Greek?" And the young lady's like, "I'm 100% Greek." So I was like, "Okay." Last week I had a whole team from Miami here. I don't ask like what Spanish descent that they were, but they were Filipino. The word Filipino showed up. So again, you have to imagine the people that were here that we're trying to talk to, prominent white people that once they know nationalities, especially when these people are 100% of their descent. So take that for what it is. What did you hear?
I heard
Here to stay, you said, or something?
here to say blank.
Okay.
Something
as we were
like
talking
that.
about that, someone said
I
nationality.
don't remember. It was, oh, I'm here to say blank or stay, like period.
Probably say.
I just
All right. So spirit box teams, hang on to your. This story is a few minutes long, so kind of bear with me here. You don't have to turn down.
Oh.
It's up to you, however you want to do it. But just hang on to it if you can. Restrain. The alley behind me is called Philadelphia Alley. That's easy for me to remember because that's where Eliza's buried, right? We named it that after a city that helped us out of one of our many, many fires. That's also when dueling became illegal and stupid. So let's talk about a duel. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Did it shut off entirely? Your battery died. She just put a new one in. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, and she has an attorney helping her out with that money. The attorney thinks that the doctor is just after Amanda's money, so he advises her to get rid of the doctor. So to prove that the doctor's not after her money, he moves to Charleston, and he's going to start his practice down here. So the coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed, so it wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. So what happens from there is somebody walking by named Ralph Isaacs. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Hang on a minute for me. R.I. And the only reason I bring that up is because you're ghost hunting. This isn't just a story. The initials have shown up here several times, but we need that secondary clue so we know who it belongs to. R.I. So Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. Anyway, Ralph says, "Hey man, you don't want to stay there. This guy's going to try to kill you for your money." And the doctor says, "Well, I don't have any money. What do you suggest?" He's like, "Well, I got some friends that live at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from there." So he rents a room at 59 Church Street. You're gonna hit your record button once it pops up. He rents a room from them, and him and Ralph become friends. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making his own money for himself now. So he becomes known as the whistling doctor because he whistled all the time. This is the late 1700s.
I heard realistic information.
Okay. Again, restrain. We're gonna get it.
Right.
So that also means Amanda's moving down soon. So he's a pretty happy guy. Him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. You make money, you get better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see William III from Shakespeare. They're talking about the new actress that was in town. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing. Then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It's kind of a jerk move. They go their separate ways. Ralph is from Charleston. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees the ad in the paper and rebuttals with, we're going to go to Dueler's Alley and settle this, meaning somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take their 20 paces, the doctor turns, points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend, which is what often would happen at a duel, regardless of Hamilton, whatever they are teaching you kids these days. But Ralph has his one shot, and he's not going to waste it. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor didn't die either, but Ralph made his point. He's pretty pissed, though. So the friends pick him up, the doctor, carry him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. This is a doctor. He probably tried to heal himself through bloodletting, basically, trying to heal himself. So they say as you walk through the alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. When you walk through the alley, it is usually pretty quiet, even with the hustle and bustle from there's people walking dogs and all kinds of stuff down there. But even the hustle and bustle from East Bay Street, 3 blocks away, it's pretty quiet down there, day or night. It's also the most picturesque place I think we have because of the lighting that's in there. It's gorgeous, day and night. I invite you to walk down there on your own. I can't take you down because at the end there is a mansion. So let me tell you the story of how I got kicked out.
Can I say something I heard?
Yes.
When you were saying you got help from an attorney, it said, and from God.
And from God.
Yeah. Well, they're religious. And then you said Church Street. He went to his friend on Church Street. So I was thinking.
Well, we're going to Church Street, which we're pretty close to St. Philip's. In case you guys seen the alley.
I got the cold picture.
I heard something else, but I forgot what it was.
This alley didn't always come down to Cumberland Street, which is the street we're on now.
Oh, was Amanda fat?
No.
Oh, okay, because it said, after you said that he was making fun of his wife, it said, go exercise. That's
good connection.
I know, right? That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, she was not overweight.
Okay, or it could be the doctor.
The doctor was not overweight either.
Okay.
It said kids these days.
I know, right?
There was no McDonald's back then.
So even over at the Pinkney Mansion site, I've had people where their right leg started hurting to the point where they can't even walk until we leave. Like we have to hoist them up, get them out to the street, and that's based on Thomas Pinkney's injury to his left leg.
Wait, so they had a duel in that alleyway?
All the time. I just told
They
the
were
story
just
of one.
all the time? Oh.
That was Dueler's Alley. Again, the alley didn't come all the yes. Not as good. Let's talk about that. And how long ago did Baby show?
I think I just heard a Grammarly ad.
9:06.
I think I just heard a Grammarly ad.
9:20. So about 14 minutes.
Would they duel on Saturday night?
This sentence is grammatically correct. But it's
I think I heard them say Grammarly.com.
Everything relative to Kansas. All right, so
I just heard like church music for like 10 seconds.
again, the
But yeah,
religious
that happened to me too.
the religious terms in this area are usually overwhelming. So you'll hear a Bible. Mike, you've been pretty quiet tonight, man. Not hearing much?
I just heard sight and number 2.
Sight and number 2. All right, guys, let's rein it in. This is a long one.
Yeah, it's dark blue, but it's not moving.
No.
All right, so we are going to be discussing.
Here's the number 8.
I heard smoking.
I'm trying to think. I'm gonna have to dive into it. to the fire that the church went through, but until I have another clue, I won't put that as
Found it right here.
Alright, our last stop. The little building over there with the crosses on it.
Yes, I've been noticing that.
Those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. What the heck are earthquake bolts? If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1896, then you can basically, those are turnbuckles. So basically you can tighten those up little by little and it'll straighten the building back up.
Wow.
It's a great concept, it just doesn't work. The only reason I bring them up here is because those are the very first set of earthquake bolts that we put in Charleston. Why? Because this is the oldest government building we have. I'll start calling you guys back in once we start hearing anything. EMX, this is not the Pinkney Mansion site. If you get anything, amazing. And I'm not making stuff go off. I've been accused of that in the past. Reset it. Yeah, whenever you get a reading, I always reset it, just to make sure it's not you. Not to mention, it is raining, so the drizzles might be making it go. Like, it's one of the few pictures I could find with her with a shirt on. Anne used to bare her breast to show the men that she just killed that they were killed by a woman. Of course, I get teenage boys on. Look at, he's already smiling back there. But again, hardcore lady. This is her as a pirate. Obviously a depiction through a painting.
Wow.
So, the name of Anne Bonny's parents, since nobody
scary.
seems to be coming up with it.
You wouldn't want to mess with her, right?
I heard the number like 50s. Like 50, like as a date or
Yeah.
like something.
Well,
in
she would have died in the 1790s. No, 1780s. 1783, 84, roughly. So
How old
50s.
was she when she died?
84. And there is range, like, depending on which story is being told, that she was born in 1699 to 1703. So, again, no, that would have been the 1710s. I also didn't tell you guys why Calico Jack was named Calico Jack. He was named that because he used to wear I buy them in bulk.